Okay, people, we will surely have the time where we will engage our speakers. We have our last speaker for the day. He's in the person of Ambassador Fawad Ali Langah. Let's welcome him and let's hear also from him. And afterwards, we discuss. So thank you so much. I think we have even gone beyond our stipulated time of 1 hour, 30 minutes. I don't know why Zoom always make us become so sinful in terms of time management. Do pardon us. We hope today's session will be worth the time we are taking from you. Thank you so much. And we welcome Ambassador Fawad Ali Langah to the stage.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Brother John. Well, trust me, I guess I don't have any word left after hearing from my brother Tristan and my brother Cabello, and of course some great put forward and things from Brother Crown as well. And some great legal expertise has been put forward by Miss Aqua from UK. However, what really you can say specific point I would like to somehow to put forward some great awareness about the importance of this day, that why it is important, why it came into being to celebration of this Refugees Day. I think I should have to tell everyone because I believe in my principle that everything starts from the awareness. If we start creating the awareness, people start understanding the importance and the significance of those areas, and especially the measures of today's day, and especially what we heard from our great brothers from their respective countries, what they face, because their importance is actually a really important for us. At the end of the day, they are also a human being. They also are brothers, and of course some other sisters who have came through with the same things, same chaos, of course. So just from the theoretical side and somehow of the historical side of this aspect, I would say, I mean, on every 20th June, we celebrate this day in order to appreciate the courage and, of course, those people who actually been forced to flee their home country to escape from any kind of an issue, mainly, of course, the conflict, terror, harassment, and, of course, the man-made disasters or natural disaster, to build empathy, I must say, and understanding their plight and recognize their resilience in rebuilding their life. That's the importance of today's day. Why we actually feel more important on that, we give actually the great recognition and of course the privilege as well as the platform and enlighten their needs, dreams, protection of their life, their rights, helping them to mobilize like political will so they can not only survive but sustain, develop, empower, and of course grow. This year, I must say the theme itself are very important, and especially during this situation what we are having right now. The theme for the 2020 UN is actually everyone can make a difference. Every action counts. It means it gives a great responsibility on the shoulders, whether you are a refugee, whether you are IDP, whether you are asylum seeker, or whether you are Fawad, or whether you are John, or whether you are Crown, or whether whoever with us, or whether whoever is actually listening to us. It's a combined effort. It's the equal voice. Every day we celebrate this thing, 20th June, of course, which was actually being celebrated, being notion put forward when the 50th anniversary of 1951 convention celebrated on the status of refugees. Let me tell you, it was actually known as the African Refugees Day, but then later on, the United Nations General Assembly has officially designated it as the International Refugees Day in December 2000. Now, what is going on currently with us? Protest, anti-racism, anti-activism issues, global pandemic. How desperate are we? As per the theme is actually giving us and urging us that we have to unite to fight against the rights and to have an equal rights for the equal world. I said equal right. It doesn't say any kind of the term of refugees, or IDPs, asylum seeker, or whatsoever, whatever way. I mean, I believe after hearing the life history, we shouldn't call them actually the refugees. They are from us, we are from them. That is the reality. Everyone has to put forward his or her role in order to serve the society and bring a change and the mindset and creating a great set of a school that these refugees are actually our brothers and sisters, are actually the families. And they clearly mention, like, maybe myself, maybe from others, maybe from any political leader, they could also face the same issue. But do we actually have to forget them? That's the major thing. Of course not. So every action counts, even including the refugees. They can contribute to our society. Make the effort, of course, with the rest of the world, and make equal work. Give the equal participation. If I talk about the United Nations action actually, or more precisely about the 1951 Refugee Convention and its 1967 protocol, one of, you can say, our participants have asked about the rights. So the right answer actually comes from this convention. What this convention actually gives us: the right not to be expelled, except under certain strictly defined conditions. The right not to be punished for illegal entry into the territory of a contrary actually, I must say, state. The right to work, the right to housing, the right to education, the right to public relief and assistance, the right to freedom of religion, the right to access to the courts actually, the right to freedom of movement within the territory, the right to issue identity and travel documents. These are their actually rights, I must say. That itself, that convention, and then 1967, the protocol of that convention actually gives into that. Now, if you talk about those SDGs, which I actually more convenient, and if I could say, like, how we can put forward the rights, the voice of our family of refugees, our brothers and sisters from that side. So in 2019, last year actually, there was a global compact on refugees. A great seminar was actually being organized, which actually supports the idea of sustainable development and support the ease pressure on countries hosting refugees, enhance the opportunities for refugees to become self-reliant, expand refugees' access to third country solutions such as resettlement and others pathway, support condition in refugees' countries of origin so they may be able to return in safe and with proper dignity. These are the great milestones today. And I believe all those efforts years diplomacy and negotiation have come over a very great accomplishment. And of course, now they are thinking to put forward some good indicators that could put forward the right as well as the voice of the refugees in all 169 targets, as well as 230 indicators of all 17 SDGs. Or in my opinion, if you focus on the goal number 10, reduce inequality, we always talk about men and women, of course, but let's talk about those women, men and women, more categorized into the refugees, into the IDPs, into the asylum seeker. Actually, it could be, of course, about the goal number 3. We have to talk about their good health and their well-being. Actually, quality education, goal number 4. They have the right of the primary education and of course the secondary education. And of course the goal number 16, to have a proper justice and urge them to live in a peaceful manner. So their entitlement should be into all SDGs as well. It is very, very necessary, I must say. I mean, after hearing some great moments, not actually, my apology, not the great moment, but a very sad moments from the life from my brother Fiston and my brother Cabello. I must say every single country has to revise their national policies. They're adding something about their constitution and also put forward some their foreign policies into that, to welcoming the refugees, to taking care about their rights, giving them a proper status actually, and of course use them, utilize them according to their skills, as their high-tech skills, as their high-skilled migrant, as their skilled migrant, and so on. So they can, of course, put forward, first of all, forget whatever they have happened in their life, whatever the terror, any kind of issues which actually force them to displace, to leave their home countries, to leave all those their memories of their siblings and their families, their ancestors, their heritage, and accept the new country. Every country has to revise their policies into that. Now I must say from this platform, United Nations put forward this thing one, because usually we find the numbers of refugees and the IDPs that actually comes from the war, from the terrors, from the issues of terrorism, I must say. Rather, we are more focused into the natural disasters actually. Maybe, in my opinion, the natural disaster comes secondary, but the primary area which these displacement, these refugees things, or the repatriation from one country to another country starts when any of the countries actually attacks on another country. We have the great, a great example from last decade, from Syria, from Iraq side, of course, from Afghanistan side, from Somalia side, of course. I mean, every country should have to think before attack about the people, about the nations who are actually over there, about their children, about the families, about the women actually. They should have to think about that before they can start any kind of war or any kind of these things actually. And the aspect, what I feel as well, and I witness actually, there should be some policies that could properly monitor the activities, because at the end of the day, I do have a huge respect to all the families of our refugees. All are my brothers and sisters. But there are some people who actually use their name as the title of the refugees just to do some bad activities in different countries. That is the reason the other countries put forward some great barriers in order to accept the refugees, IDPs, asylum seekers. So it should be a proper check and balance while having the cross-bordering, while having the repatriation time period actually. A proper cross-border monitoring. The proper history actually needs to be done. And everyone has to be properly filtered and give the great opportunities according to their skills, according to their talent actually, and welcome with the open hearts. Like we have a great example from the Turkey actually, who has accepted a huge number of Syria, Lebanon actually, who actually accept Pakistan actually, my own country actually, accept huge refugees actually, and other countries actually, I must say, UK of course, Germany as well, I must say. But why actually they bit hesitate on some occasion? Because they have actually found some people under the title of the name of the title of refugees, they did a bad thing into their countries. So due to that reason, those who are actually people who have some issues, like our brother Fiston, our brother Cabello, and other families who are actually really faced genuinely issues from their community, from their countries, from their nation, they face those issues because they will not get those entitlement, those equal rights, because of those people who actually act bad. So the country should have to filter on those and give equal rights, especially people like what we heard from them today. I agreed what Miss Aqua from UK said, because I personally witnessed actually that. I was also in UK for 4 years as a student of international relations, of course. And of course, I've served the British government as a civil enforcement officer for 6 months. I found plenty of Syrian refugees, plenty of Somalian refugees, plenty of other rest of the African states refugees. The government is actually giving a good right to them. They are taking care of them. They are giving them equal rights actually. This is what actually we need from all of our countries, with a great civil society collaboration, with a great partnership actually. But again, it should be a proper monitoring. It should be a proper check and balance. It should be a proper accountability while accepting all those refugees. Because at the end of the day, under those who are actually legit people, who actually deserve a great rights, a great comfort in different countries, has actually not getting, unfortunately, a proper rights just because of those people who use the wrong title of IDPs, refugees, and etc. etc. It should be abandoned into the country's policies and the foreign relations on this. That's all I can say into that. And of course, these all are our community, our refugees community. They are not separate from us. They are from us. They are actually our brothers and sisters. They are actually our same family like we have. They are from us actually. We should never ever forget what they have actually sacrificed. They sacrificed their homeland, they sacrificed their culture, they sacrificed maybe their religion, they sacrificed their family because of those scareness, of those terror activities, of those any natural disaster that could have been destined from their life. I have a huge sympathy and a huge condolence from this platform, and will put forward the same notion actually from today onwards with this platform, that we should have to keep recognize the sacrifice, the great aspects, the great you can say work what they had did actually, and salute especially to our brother Fiston, to our brother Cabello, of course, and rest of who actually faced those things. Guys, you did it. You are amazing. Keep focusing on that. Keep hope into that. Be positive. Be productive. One day, definitely, will come and ease all those issues. Definitely in future, I must say. Definitely, things are changing. The perspective are actually changed right now. The new mindset, the youth is actually coming right now. 1.3 billion out of 7.8 billion of the population of entire world is actually. So we can expect something, a very, very, very good response. So don't worry about it. We are with you. The entire world is with you. We are recognizing your sacrifice. We are recognizing your itself having in this world, of course. Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much, Hard Consult, for actually organizing a great and a memorable day to give us actually a great hope, and of course, a great platform to create and a great awareness to think about, to create a great voice for all our this particular community, because they are from us, we are from them. Thank you once again, John. Over to you now. Thank you very much. If there is any other questions related to that, I would love to answer that. Over to you, John. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my brother, for always speaking with passion, and everything embodies the SDG. You are perfectly right. Because if you even look at the new communication that has been received to the Global Compact for Migration, the inputs to the Secretary General's biannual report, the youth perspective, they actually state that as this is causing irreparable damage to the future of these generations. And then as youth, we find this unacceptable. We call on the Secretary General to include in his report that the ensuring migrants, that is including youth, which is key, are socially and economically integrated, and that their human rights are respected for migrants, and also no one should be left behind. The achievement of the 2030 agenda to be possible, and second, for them to significantly contribute with their own skills and work to the achievement of the SDGs in their host and home communities. This is why the Global Compact for Migration is key to the development of the SDGs, as well as to the liberation of refugees and asylum seekers. And you, my brother, you have nailed it right on point on that document which is in circulation. So thank you so much for that insightful SDG talk on migration.
I am very sorry to intervene. Just because what you have said, of course. Just adding one into that. I mean, I believe that because there are so many areas, especially when refugees actually travel, or you can say that particular transit period called the repatriation, or patriation from one country to another country. When they actually enter to any of the border, since then there should be a proper filter, and there should be a proper accountability according to their skills, their rights, their education, because these people are very, very talented. Now, Check what Brother Fiston is doing. He's doing an amazing job. Brother Cabello, of course. They are very talented. So every country actually should respect according to their population, because we have to see the population of the country is actually very, very well because of their rights as well. But if they accept with a warm welcome of those people actually with their great talents, definitely they can use them, utilize their skills for their own nation building. But they has to put into their national policies while accepting those people. And I must say, in my opinion, after some period, they should not to entitle themselves as a refugees. I must say, they shouldn't do that. They should accept them as the citizen of their country. They should accept them properly as a citizen of their countries, because they left their country with not their fault, with not their any kind of issue, because there was not their fault. They were forced to do so. They were not desperate to do so. They were forced to do so, which we should actually humbly, I must say, respect that. And after some period, all those security checks, all those skill checks, and give them an equal responsibility and equal rights for education, for housing, for proper employment. Every country should accept them as the citizen of their country and not should call them as a refugees. Thank you, Brother John. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Fawad, for that. Thank you very much. I think there's a question here. I think Madam Ajay, since are you there?
I'm here, John.
Yeah.
I just like to add, respond to or make a comment that I don't live in the UK anymore. I was there for like 15 or 16 years, and I'm back in Ghana, and helping to build our great nation, Ghana. So it's not all doom and gloom. Whatever skills I learned in the UK as initially a refugee, and then eventually as a British citizen, I'm able to apply in Ghana and help the Ghanaian society, Ghanaian economy to develop. So refugees can return to their home countries and help in national development. And I think that's the way that even the countries of origin, the governments of the countries of origin should also be thinking, how can we use the people who are outside, whether they're economic migrants or whether they're refugees, how can we tap into their skills and knowledge that they have acquired to help us develop our country? So you might find yourself abroad, you might think that it's all doom and gloom, but your country also needs you. When it's safe enough to return home, I think that one should consider that, because I did.
Much for that pop-up. I think for now we shall give the audience, our valued participants, the chance to ask their questions to everyone. But then I think there was an earlier question looking at Madam Ajay coming on. Why don't we pose this question to you? Does the refugee know their basic human rights? And if they do, how do they get the best of support to integrate?
From my experience, there were different refugee civil societies that were helping the different nationalities to settle in. So the Somalis had their own association that would help Somali refugees that came in to settle. The Sierra Leoneans had theirs, Liberians had theirs, and even if they didn't, and again, I only speak from the UK perspective because that's all I know. Even if they didn't have those associations, we the lawyers would help them. you know, we would help them to access social welfare by directing them to the correct the correct government agency to see, and then most of the time they don't have any issues. But that's because the UK is very, very welcoming to asylum seekers. You know, some other countries not so much, even when they have signed up to the 1951 convention. So it very much depends on the host country. You know, for the UK, they did everything possible to ensure that the families, refugee families, were getting what they were entitled to. Their children were going to school, they had healthcare, they had housing, to the point where, you know, I remember there was one particular case where an Afghan had 2 wives, and both wives were allowed to come to the UK to join him. And the government had to find a house that was suitable for them to live in because it was a large family, you know. And those are the kinds of things that maybe the nationals will complain about. So you hear them saying that, you know, they're bleeding our healthcare system, they're bleeding our welfare system, they're bleeding the housing system. It's because of issues like that, where they're trying to settle their culture into the UK culture. That tends to be a problem sometimes, where there's a huge variance. But on the whole, as a lawyer, we directed the refugees to the right places, and I don't ever remember any refugee complaining that they were not getting the help that they deserved. And as I said, the civil societies that help them, especially I remember very clearly with the Somalis and Afghans, they had a lot of help from the civil societies. So in the host countries, it's important that those who have settled are able to assist their nationals that come in, because sometimes they don't even speak any English, not a word of English. And communicating and getting around becomes a problem. So I would encourage refugees, migrants who have settled in host countries to look out for their own people when they come, because that's a great source of help for asylum seekers. And we would get clients, would get asylum seekers from these societies. So they find that, you know, some people have come in from Sierra Leone, and then they bring them to you to help them get their refugee status. So a lot depends on the civil societies as well.
Thank you very much for that insight, and also responding to that question. I think we are fast spent, so we'll open the platform for our participants to ask direct questions to the speakers, and so that they can also share in their experience and learn some new things with respect to refugees. So my valued participants, the floor is open. Kindly